Hey guys, I'm here to give you my unbiased opinion of Back to Eden Garden. I don't have an actual answer as to how I feel about it, but I can say that this year my garden is hurting. I figured I'd give you a quick tour and show you what's up. And remember, this is Maine, so we're a little bit further behind than some of you that are already getting tomatoes. But I think we're further behind than we really should be, so let's go check it out. I just laid down a whole bunch of manure hoping that maybe I can perk things up. This is my table squash, and some of it, I don't know if you can see the flower back there, is flowering, but it's not very big. That's kind of the theme of the garden this year, is not really very big. I mean, onions are like little blades of grass. They're really not doing anything. Pumpkins and squashes and gourds are all turning yellow. We've had a lot of rain this year though, so I'm not sure if it's so much the Back to Eden or if it is the fact that the rain is just sucking all of the nutrients I'm putting in out of the ground. Normally this time of year, these bean trellises would be filled right up to the top. They're barely hitting the first line, and if you look, a lot of it hasn't even germinated. There should be beans all through there, and there just aren't, so not particularly impressive. Things that are going well: the Egyptian walking onions are looking great. The potatoes along the back there, I've held them 3 times and they still are going crazy. In fact, some of them look like they're flowering. Garlic is doing great, but if you look over here, the broccoli, I've actually even stepped on them a few times. You can't even tell that they're there, and they've been in the ground for a while now. One thing I have a lot of is maples, from those little airplane things. My kids call them airplanes. We have lots of maples coming up. But the garlic looks good. The peppers are sad. Everything's kind of sad. Maine is notorious for kind of looking like crap until July, but we're July 4th right now and things aren't looking great. Beans are doing okay. I actually didn't put those in until maybe 3 weeks ago, so those aren't looking too bad. I started corn using winter sowing. That's typically not done. Corn doesn't transplant well. The side that was transplanted is actually doing quite well. The stuff on the ends here was added later, direct from seed, and it's pretty far behind. We had a bunch of sunflowers in here, but then something came and got most of them. There's still a few in there. These are cucumbers along the front. They're actually not doing too bad. They're trailing in the wrong direction, so we're gonna have to kind of train them back out this way, otherwise they're gonna create a giant mess back there. But those actually aren't looking too bad. Oh, while I'm over here, excuse the mess, this is my compost tea setup that my dad made me. I need to put a screen on the top, but the idea is eventually a rod will go through the holes here, so there's holes, and it'll kind of be like a wishing well for this bag right here. It's an old pillowcase. It's got compost mix in it, as well as chicken manure. You don't have to worry about the heat of chicken manure when you've made it into a tea. So the idea is that you'll be able to reel it up, add new, and put it back in, and then it all comes out of the little spigot here. Unfortunately, we need to do some renovations though, because it's leaking on one of the sides, so we need to work on that. This is where carrots are supposed to be. There are none. Well, that's not true. If you look very closely, way in the back there's like 4 seedlings. It's not impressive. Once again, that seems to be the theme this year, be it the rain or the Back to Eden. The tomatoes, I was all excited to have all these varieties of tomatoes. They are no bigger than they were when I put them in the ground. These are Bradleys for slicing salads, things like that. These ones in the back are really pretty when they get going. They have pink tomatoes. They're called rose tomatoes. They're huge. They're pink. I thought they'd look really cute in a salsa, especially with purple basil, which I happen to be growing. If you heard that, that is a quail crow, if anybody's ever wondered. I've got the Romas. I've got onions coming up in between them. There's, again, supposed to be carrots in the front, but nothing. One thing that doesn't speak well to the Back to Eden is, if you look very closely right there, that is purple basil. I have purple basil somewhere else that is not Back to Eden, and it's huge compared to that, so it doesn't speak well. And here's some more maple trees, because, you know, you can't have enough of those. Again, potatoes are doing great. those were not buried in the ground. If you haven't seen the post, you should check it out on Growing Potatoes and Back to Eden. You actually kind of set them in the wood chips at ground level, and then you bury them. You keep burying them in wood chips. There's no actual soil involved. I'm not sure if the harvest will go well, but the green certainly, especially on the side where it gets more sun, it's looking really good. Unfortunately, we have this big tree, which is kind of killing my son, which is unfortunate. And then last but not least, over here we've got butternut squash. Again, they're just at one actually back there. Looks like it's done in, but they're sad. Everything is very sad. I'm not willing to say that Back to Eden doesn't work. One big thing that Paul says is that you really need to wait 3 years for the soil to correct itself. And you know, I'm willing to give it the 3 years. I may plant things in other places in the meantime, but this isn't exactly the best harvest I've ever had. But again, it's also early in the season. We've had a lot of rain, so maybe that's the problem. But I figured I'd check in and let you know how things are going. I was kind of hoping one of my quail would crow for you again, because people keep asking me what the crow sounds like, those that are in urban areas and are thinking about getting quail. We'll come over here and harass them. Maybe they'll make some noise for us. This little guy, our white one, he's not well loved. He's gonna have to be rehomed. They're picking his feathers out. But here's one of our ladies over here, and that's one of the males in the back. I'm not sure if you can tell. Let me zoom in. Is that bright red chest on him? That's a male. And then let's get another chest here. That's a female's chest with the spots. So I'm not sure if you can tell the difference, the red breast versus the spotted. And not one of them is planning on making any noise for me whatsoever. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tour again.